In a top-down marketing approach, you invent your mousetrap, and then you convince people why they need that mousetrap. So you need a strong marketing team. In a bottom-up approach, you approach the market with nothing, you find an underserved niche, then you go back and you design your product or service, and then with a bottom-up marketing approach, people will gravitate towards you. What companies are doing now is that they have begun outsourcing the design. They have begun outsourcing the design of their product or service to the customer. To the customer. So what happens is, by the time you have your product, the marketing is already built in because you included your customers in the design. If you look at the way software is done, Google will put out a beta version, and then the customers of Google will work on that version and make it even better. So by the time Google releases that software, that product, well, the customer base is already built in because they were part of that design. And it's in the same way that training should be built into the design. The reason why an ATM machine is so easy to use and you don't need a manual is because training is built in the design. So in the same way, you don't want to build your mousetrap and then have your training and development people write the manual to do the mousetrap. Build training into the design. Analogous to that, Russell, consider building the design of your next product or service. Consider outsourcing that design to your core customers. And you'll find that not only will you be giving them more of what they demand because they helped in its design, but you might find yourself spending less SG&A cost on marketing because your customer base is built in. Companies do this through a variety of ways. People talked about help desks being outsourced from America to Bangalore, but now there's one better. Companies have their own blogs and bulletins where other experts, and let's say Microsoft, other customers are answering the questions of other Microsoft customers, and now they're pulling out the help desks in Bangalore. So companies are having their own clients answer the questions of other clients. So sometimes companies outsource the design of their product or service to their customers through having an interactive website. Sometimes it's inviting your core, most loyal customers to, let's say, an off-site, one-day seminar and find out, make your next product demand-driven. Like, what's the one training that you are not getting that you would take if it were served up to you, and what would that look like? Don't worry whether or not we can do it or not, but if you were to temporarily remove constraints, what would that look like? If you needed to learn one thing in the next year that you can't get out there, what would that look like? So by the time, when you outsource the design to your customers, by the time you design that product, right, as a bottom-up approach, you're spending less money on marketing. But keep in mind, I'm not saying marketing is less important than any other departments. I'm just saying that you're going to allocate those marketing dollars in a more efficient manner. I do want to conclude with this point. When you're coming up with a new product and service that is so revolutionary, you have to have a top-down approach. If Henry Ford asked people what they wanted, they would say, we would like horses that require less water and run faster. They could not imagine a horse carriage without a horse. So if you're coming up with something so revolutionary, I never knew until Steve Jobs invented the iPhone that I needed to touch glass and move icons. Now I need that, but I didn't realize I needed that until Steve Jobs told me that I needed that. So your most extreme innovations, of course you want that top-down approach, marketing approach, because you need to educate the customer that you don't want faster horses, you actually want a horse carriage without a horse. But that does not include everything. So think about outsourcing the design of your next product or service to your customer base, and find that your revenue is going to be locked in as a result.